You're listening to the Hot Topics podcast with Psycho 4081, the lovely Lady Lamb Chop, and the fabulous Felonious Feather. Let's get into it.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Hot Topics podcast. This is men's night. Okay, last time we had ladies, it was all for the ladies. We talked about body counts. So today we're going to talk about another trending topic. So a little bit late, but we're going to talk about the whole situation with the Shedeur Sanders and the whole bias in American sports. So I have my co-host here. Introduce yourself.
Demetrix Cinema.
Demetrix Cinema. Check him out on YouTube under Demetrix Cinema. And we have three guests. We have Paul Glass, a.k.a. P. Diddy.
No Diddy.
No.
Pause. No Diddy.
We got Wayne Crespo and we got Travis. Travis, I just wanted to tell you, I forgot to tell you, your last name is Glass now. Okay? I'm taking your name. You have my last name now. Okay? So everybody, he's Travis Glass. All right? So how you guys doing today?
I'm doing
Pretty
very
good.
well.
Pretty good.
Very good. So I know all you guys here are sports fans, and I know, us, we're all black men, so we have a stake in this as well. Good, fair amount of opinion on it. I'm gonna start with Paul, since you're at the top. What did you think about the draft? Was it last Thursday or last week? What do you think about the draft?
Man, listen. First of all, what they did. First, let me explain this. What people don't understand is that the NFL is a business. It's the billionaires' men's club, and when they want to prove a point, or they want to humble a black man or black athlete, this is what they do. So, by not drafting, by not having Shedeur Sanders drafted into the 5th round, was basically a shock to his father, Coach Prime.
I think it was a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
It was a shock to everybody, but more or less, it was basically saying to Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders that, hey, we run this. Y'all not coming in here. We run this, and y'all going to comply. Y'all going to do how what we want y'all to do, and y'all going to act how we want y'all to act. That's what it was.
Okay. What say you, Wayne Crespo?
I got a lot of things to say. I got about 5 major topics. Number one, the greatest player that probably ever played the game on both sides of the ball, Deion Sanders. That was a great disrespect to a perennial Pro Bowler, a multi-Super Bowl winner. That was probably the best cornerback that ever graced the field. Number two, I don't understand how a man that was in the running for the Heisman Trophy dropped so far. Number three, I don't understand how he threw to some of the best receivers that got drafted this year, coming out of the draft with Horn and with Hunter. If Horn and Hunter stats were that great, how could you then not turn around and draft Tim High when he was the person that was throwing them the ball?
Good point.
So there's several things that I don't understand. He also broke a record for percentage in the conference that he was in. I'm pretty sure he connected for more than 86% of his shots. So all of that combined, I just don't understand how someone don't make it out of the first round, let alone the top 3.
Right. Good points. What say you, Travis?
Yeah, so I felt like all 32 teams wanted to make a statement when it came to Shedeur. Like, for every team to pass up on him up until the 5th round, he was arguably going to go number 2, number 3 overall. I felt like it was something behind the scenes where they wanted to make a statement, because you can't deny his talent. That 5th round, he doesn't have 5th round talent. So I felt like something was done behind the scenes that they all agreed on to not draft him to make that statement. That was my biggest thing. Like, I was shocked Pittsburgh Steelers didn't take him at number 21.
Right.
they need a quarterback still right now. They didn't take him. They passed up on him round 1, 3, and 4. That was a shock to me personally, being a Steelers fan. But I felt like, you know, it was something done behind the scenes that it just, you can't deny talent.
Okay.
I agree on that. My take on it is they was talking about a lot about how cocky he was. He came with the jury, the cologne and all this stuff. And the thing about it is, 80% of those players that got drafted wore jewelry. They wore shades. I'm sure they came with cologne. They had the suits on, walking with the big chains or whatever. When Johnny Manziel and what's his name got drafted, they didn't say anything about them with their cockiness. Baker Mayfield, they didn't say nothing about them and their cockiness, you know. And you know, I'm just pushing it towards what was said with them, towards what wasn't said with the other white athletes. So I feel like it's a combination of what Travis said about they went behind the scenes, kind of like, you know, oh yeah, we all gonna agree on this and show this guy, you know, that we, you know, I agree about that too, but I think it's also had race in it too a little bit.
Okay, so and seems like that's a consensus when it comes to the double standard with black and white athletes in American sports. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick on that particular topic. So this is what I got from a couple of people, and they said, one, he came out beforehand and said that there's certain teams that he was not going to allow his son to play for, and there was some idea that maybe he was sabotaging some of the interviews so he didn't have to play for some of those teams, which I don't have a problem with that either, because if anybody saw my Facebook post, I was like, please don't go to the Cleveland Browns. They will ruin any quarterback that goes there. So, you know, that was that. And then I heard about the one of the interviews. I'm not sure which one it was. I don't know if they said it or not, but they said he came in there. He was unprepared. He brought his entourage. He was joking, and one of the guys had one of the owners, upper management, whatever, had to take him outside. They said because he said the cologne he had on was so strong he didn't think he was going to be able to speak, you know, or you know, do the interview. So a lot of those may have affected it, but this is the one thing I'm going to say that kind of angered me. So when he got drafted by Cleveland, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but he told whoever he was talking to from the Browns organization, told him that if he works hard, he can make sure he earns his keep, right? So that rubs me the wrong way. And I'm like, what draft pick they ever said that to? Ever. You drafting somebody and it's automatically assumed you're going to earn your keep.
Yeah.
Like they came in and was doing him a favor. So I had a problem with that. So.
All right.
Go ahead, Paul.
I want to speak on that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I go? I just want to say one thing real quick. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just want to go back to personality.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, he's not the first football player to come off as confident or cocky.
Right.
Second of all, I think his personality, I think he's actually exceptionally humble, dealing with the talent the level of skills and actual talent that he has.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side of the coin, I just think he's indifferent in some aspects and he's nonchalant in others. And like that can be interpreted as something totally different. But I think his nonchalant appeal or approach, it comes across like he's cocky, but I feel like he's more humble than anything. You know, he's never really made a promise he couldn't keep. He's always been a team player. He's always put his team first. He's always went out there and left it on the field, as we would say. So I've never seen him actually step out of bounds and not react as a person on the skill level and the talent level that he has.
Right.
So I don't understand why anybody would look at him and take that as being cocky or that being negative. If anything, that would add to a team. That would add fuel and that would add fire to a team. I know I'm ready to go through hell and back if I have a player like that on my team.
Right.
Exactly.
There's a lot of guys that got drafted that I wouldn't want to. I would care less. They wouldn't even matter on a team with me. But Shedeur Sanders will, because he sets a standard. He's a leader. He's not one of those outspoken guys. He leads his speaking on the field. I mean, he speaks by actions, not by words. So for me, that would be the greatest asset to a team, and that's what I couldn't understand.
Okay, so
why they didn't pick.
So any of you guys, you think that there's a definite, defined disparity when you talk about the personalities of black athletes, where a black athlete may be considered cocky, whereas the white athlete may be considered confident?
Oh, definitely. Because if you think about it, look at the words they use, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the black athlete, it's arrogance, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the white athlete, it's bravado, right?
Mm-hmm.
So listen to the narrative, right? So Dimitri said that I don't know who said it.
Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel.
He's not the first. He's not the first athlete that came into an draft interview with an entourage with chains on. In fact, all of them do it, even the white athletes, right? So they even mentioned something about having his hat turned backwards. Jackson Dart had his hat turned backwards.
Thank you.
Nobody talked about that.
Thank you.
Right? So I want to point this out. See, and in particular, I want to talk about the Giants, right? The Giants were never going to draft Shedeur anyway, because they all have Ole Miss connections, right? So the narrative had to spin that way to justify them taking Jackson Dart, because Brian Daboll, the head coach, he got connection with Ole Miss. Remember, Eli got connection with Ole Miss. Somebody's son is called the plays down at Ole Miss. So they already had in their mind that it don't matter. We're going to pick Jackson Dart. So when and now listen, New York, this the media. So they had to spin it that way. They had to spin that he wasn't prepared. His father is Deion Sanders, the most prepared probably athlete of our time.
Exactly.
You don't think that this man has coached him up to be prepared for each and everything that goes on, told him about the draft process, how to treat himself, how to carry himself, how to handle the whiteboard. So all that was a spin. All that was a spin, so you can leak that stuff to make it seem like, oh, well, that's why they wouldn't pick him.
Okay.
It's not done that way with white athletes. They praise white athletes for having, oh, this guy he has bravado. Oh man, he has swagger. But see, when a black athlete is confident, it's arrogance.
Arrogance, yeah.
It's egotistical.
I also want to bring up a point. During the Jim Crow era, when you spoke on the entourage, man, ever since Jim Crow, they don't want to see like more than 5 of us in one space.
Facts.
That's correct. That's fact. That's fact.
So once again, it's a whole nother racial element. So when people ask, there's several things I could point out that can speak to the racial element of this, because a lot of people, I think they want to overlook that or water that down. I don't know what they want to do, but there's definitely a high level of racial elements in this entire situation.
Right. So now we talked about the I guess the stereotypes when it comes to black athletes and white athletes, and their abilities and their personalities. Well, actually, the personalities, but we'll talk about their abilities. Now, this is for Travis. Let me give you an example. So we got black quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton. They were always praised for their athleticism, right? But they get questioned on their leadership or intelligence. Whereas the white athletes, the quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, they're basically praised for their football IQ. So my question is, why do these narratives persist and how do they affect the draft decisions or the media framing?
You got to think about it like that's the most important position in football. When you the quarterback,
Yep.
you like the face of the franchise. So when you that face of the franchise, if you're a black guy like Cam Newton, you got to stay clean. You got to be clean. You can't make no mistakes. Just about. And so when you come out, start being cocky. Look at how his career ended in Carolina.
Right.
Like you're not gonna get too many more chances versus another quarterback who come off the same way.
I
Whether
agree.
you got talent or not, you have
Look,
multiple.
to speak to that,
chances.
but look, to speak to that, look, man, it don't matter. It really don't matter if you do or you don't. You could go out like Mike Vick, or you can go out like Randall Cunningham. You could be the best in the game. You can go out like RG3. RG3 was squeaky clean, but look how he was done. You know what I mean? They didn't even give him a line. The boy got hurt. They still tried to put him out there in the field, which ultimately led to the end. Randall Cunningham never really had a line. He always had to scramble. He was always the best quarterback in that era, but you would never know it because he didn't either have the receivers or the line or both.
Right. So maybe again, maybe that's that stereotype where they say, well, we got a black quarterback back there, and you know he has this super athleticism. Maybe we could just focus on the skill players and not the line. Whereas some of the white quarterbacks, they could just smart their way through. They're so intelligent they can just pick without the, you know.
Can I speak on something real
Listen.
quick? Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead.
So
Okay.
I got a problem with Tom Brady. And
I don't know how, but go ahead.
I'm about to tell you how. Tom Brady, and it was, Paul, you probably heard this. It got out that Tom Brady was telling them not to pass on Shador, right?
Telling the Raiders not to draft
Shador. And he's supposed to be his godfather, his mentor, all these years or whatever. So I also heard he told he told other teams like, hey, I wouldn't, talking to other, scouts, I wouldn't draft him or whatever, Why? You mentored him. This is my problem with that. Deion spoke. Hold on.
Bro,
Deion spoke.
This is my problem with that. Not to interrupt you. This is my problem with that. Why would they listen to him?
Because he's Tom Terrific.
See what I'm saying?
Are you talking about the
Why would they
other
listen
teams?
to him versus Deion? Why would the owners listen to him versus a Deion Sanders?
Good question.
I
you know what I mean?
I think it wasn't to the owner; it was to the Raiders.
The Raiders
organization, because he's a minority owner or whatever. Which is still, like you said, if you're mentoring somebody, you would think that you're using your skills, your know-how, your whatever to bring this guy along, and then you go backdoor him like that.
I feel like Deion felt some kind of way when he heard this.
Listen. I'm gonna keep it simple and plain. All that is good, and you're right, Demetrix, that if Tom Brady was his mentor and was helping him train, if he did that, that was foul. But I'm gonna tell you, the football field is the modern day plantation. Okay, all the slave owners, old school. If you look at all the teams, mostly like the established teams, the older teams, it's family run teams, right?
Old money.
Old money, right? Okay. And they believe what they believe. They first of all, they wouldn't even allow us to play quarterback. Do you know how many individuals did not get the opportunity to play professional quarterback in the NFL because they're biased? They said that the NFL, the black quarterback was not intelligent enough to play the position.
So they would put him in running back or wide receiver.
They moved him to cornerback. Right. So what happens is this. They praise, they see, and so in their evaluation, what they do, that's why their evaluation is so skewed, and there's so many teams still losing, because they still, if you notice the evaluation, they always talk about you got to be big, strong arm in the pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's code word for white quarterback.
Yeah,
See, that's
exactly.
but see they can't say that, so they got to put these big strong arm measurable. He make all the wild throws. Wild throws wild throws don't win you games now. Wild throw. Let me tell you something. All that stuff will get you fired. But see what happens. But then they say the first thing you talk about black quarterback. Oh, he has tremendous athletic ability.
Right.
They never say he has tremendous football IQ. He reads the defense. He knows where to go with the football. They never say that. The first thing they say is his athletic prowess, his speed. When they was talking about Jason Milroe, all they kept saying was, "Man, he can run. He can run."
So let me ask you something.
I mean, like,
what do you think? What do you think about Deion Sanders said when he interviewed for his pre-draft interviews? He was interviewed by the Giants, and they wanted him to take a written test before they went on.
Yeah.
And he said, where do you guys pick? He said, I think they was picking 4th or 5th. He was like, I'm not even going to be available then. So he got up and left. But do you think that's inherently insulting and biased?
Okay, look. Let's go back to Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Tom Brady knows exactly what. Tom Brady is an intelligent human being / quarterback, athlete, whatever. He know what he looking at when he look at Shador. Of course he wants Shador shit fucked up. Because if Shador lives up to his potential, he would eclipse Tom Brady. You wouldn't even when they talk about the new guy or when they talk about the NFL, they won't even mention Tom Brady if Shador is able to unleash his actual skills, his actual talent with a decent team.
Or a decent line where he doesn't have to run for his life.
Yeah.
All right, so and we talked about how everybody kind of views it, whatever. We're going to talk about scandals now. Mine, mentioning Shador's never been in any scandal, but we're going to talk about scandal in media coverage. So I'm gonna kind of give you an example, and we don't need to go too far, but compare how Michael Vick was treated after the dog fighting conviction.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Ray, I don't even. You know what? Forget Michael Vick. Let's say Ray Rice, because
Kind of feeling that Michael Vick thing.
yeah, that.
Then when you're wrong with that one.
So, but Ray Rice was never really convicted, but he was blackballed, and he never got an opportunity to get back in the NFL, right? And maybe he was the first one that made the headlines. I guess he wasn't the first one to get in trouble. He was the first one that got in the headlines. So now. Compare that to, and I wanted to talk about Ray Rice because he never got convicted. He never, basically it was whatever. But versus Ben Roethlisberger, who's a white guy from, my team,
Yep.
When he had the sexual assault allegations. So, he was suspended a few games or whatever and took a small hit, but he was able to go on and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Whereas Ray Rice, that was the last time he set foot on the field outside of coming back to be recognized. So why the difference in the narratives and the public forgiveness?
The main excuse is they're used in the Ray Rice situation is that it was on camera.
It was on camera.
That's
Okay.
what
That's
I-
always
It was on
it was on camera, and it was abuse of a woman.
Okay.
They didn't really care about the woman because they don't really care about black women. That was a double standard.
Okay.
They really cared about it being on camera. That's all. And they're gonna blow that out of proportion.
Yeah.
When you
If
talk
it-
about
if it
Ben
wasn't on-
Roethlisberger, he wasn't on camera.
Okay.
Yeah. If it wasn't on camera, first I want to say Ray Rice is the NFL is a black ghost. We ain't seen him since. He a black ghost. He never got a second
He's
chance.
somewhere hanging out with Colin Kaepernick.
He hanging out with Colin Kaepernick.
Well, that's a good point though. Like you
I
can
thought Ray Rice got another chance after that.
no.
Nah.
No.
Never came back from that.
So what happened was they was going to say, I guess they was going to suspend him because that's what they said. They was going to give him a certain amount of days. I mean, not days, but suspend him for
And
a
that
certain
video
amount of.
came out.
Yes, then the video came out, and then it was like, we see you when you see you. So, but think about all the other athletes that had gotten into trouble. Like, all right, we don't have to go too far. Look at what happened to Baltimore Ravens kicker
Justin Tucker.
Yes,
Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker.
And look what happened to
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Same shit.
Hell,
Same stuff.
Baker Mayfield was on camera.
Oh, was he?
Baker Mayfield was on camera when he got arrested for the DUI. He was.
I didn't see that blown up.
Right. Right.
He got arrested. He got arrested at Oklahoma for the DUI. They had it was. You've seen the video.
Mhm.
Not only did they disregard it. Then they loved his antics on the field, all that nonsense he was doing.
Mhm.
He won the Heisman. That's what I'm saying. Like, the narrative is always the black. When you equate black, it's always negative.
Mhm.
It's a negative connotation.
So you think that's why that in the public realm that they're least likely to forgive a black athlete versus a white athlete.
Definitely.
Look. No, hold on. We don't even want to go into forgiveness when it comes down to the black athlete. Let's start here. Look at what Brett Favre did when he ripped off the college.
Oh,
I was gonna say. I was gonna bring that up.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't even want to talk. They didn't even want to talk about it.
You're right.
When Dana White beat his wife up in the club, they didn't want to talk about that either.
I totally
When
forgot about that.
When you see Stephen A. Smith talk about it, he act like he was pushed in a dark room and forced to smooth that one over or something.
Or remember when Josh Giddey was messing with the underage girls?
Mhm.
Remember
That
that?
part.
But then when they Brandon Miller from Alabama, he's now with the Charlotte Hornets. He was talking about the little gun thing or whatever. They made a big fuss about that. They was talking about that. Man, when Josh Giddey name came up, it was quiet, crickets. Ain't nobody heard about nothing about it.
That's like John Morant. John Morant, he was caught waving a gun. Okay, it's not the most intelligent thing, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. The man can't even wave his hand like a gun without it being blown out of proportion and him getting a fine. What part of that is illegal? I don't know, because it's been done before. It just don't make any sense. But when it comes down to black athletes, there's this triple-double standard. That's unbelievable.
Right. Oh, okay. Somebody mentioned Colin Kaepernick earlier. Who was?
I did.
Oh, that was you. Okay.
Man.
So, all right. Now, Colin Kaepernick got his thing because he spoke out on social issues. Now, he peacefully protested racial injustice and was essentially blackballed from the NFL. Meanwhile, white athletes who've spoken on political or social issues, example, Aaron Rodgers on his COVID policies, they often maintain contracts and endorsement deals. Not to mention, who was the other one? Your guy for the 49ers.
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa.
That
Trump,
clown. That
stuff.
clown.
Yes, he jumps in on an interview with his MAGA hat on and says, "What is it? Go Trump or something?"
Go Trump. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
Took away the shine from the game.
why is black protest often seen as divisive but not white dissent?
Because it's not a part of the white agenda.
Okay.
And what runs
Right.
the NFL is a white agenda.
Okay.
That is white corporate America. That is white billionaire dollars. And
And-
until
and we-
look, I'll tell you like this: the whole double standard of like the idea of coaches. There was no surgeons or there was no there wasn't a big outcry about black coaches a few years back. Now that there's like a lot of black coaches in the league. But that's to take away from the idea of there being black owners. You have millions of players that play.
Right. Exactly.
So instead of pushing us into the ownership position, you say, you know what? We can keep them still on the field and make them coaches because there's not that many black coaches. But at the same time, there's no power in being a coach. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to these huge decisions and the drafts and stuff like that, the power is in the ownership. So we usually get forced and pushed into a position and highlighted in a position of little to no power. I mean, we get the celebrity status and we get the millions of bucks, but we're not on the $1 billion level and we don't have the ultimate power.
So do you think that when they let me hit Travis on this one. So do you think that there's a triggering effect when a black athlete says anything when it comes to protesting?
Triggering effect towards
Towards like say or mainstream.
I do. Because we don't have any black athlete doesn't necessarily have that freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
You can't speak your mind in the sport or how you feel, how you really feel about it. There's an agenda you have to keep.
Okay.
So I feel like, when you start bringing in your personal feelings and you want to, Colin Kaepernick is a prime example. He was speaking his mind. He was, like how he personally see the NFL, going all the way back to the NFL combine and all that. These are his feelings on how he personally felt, how he viewed it, his opinion. Like, we can't express every opinion that comes to mind, I feel like.
Okay.
LeBron, shut up and dribble. Remember that?
Yep. They told LeBron to shut up and dribble.
How about, I don't know if you guys remember Craig
And
Hodges.
guess what? LeBron shut up and dribble. But go ahead.
He did.
Look where he's at. Yeah, he did it.
How about Craig Hodges in the NBA?
Craig Hodges.
Craig Hodges.
Prime example. Great example.
Yep.
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
That's right.
Yep.
You could name him in every sport except for
you know
hockey.
What's crazy about it? Those men were in their prime when they were taken down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the most
Craig
tragic
Hodges was
part.
still winning the 3-point championships he was winning championships with the Bulls when he was taken down.
Absolutely.
Abdul-Rauf was. Let me tell you, Abdul-Rauf was lighting up Michael Jordan in games.
Yeah.
But listen. I love MJ, but I'm just keeping it a buck.
Right.
He was in his prime. He was probably the most, explosive scorer. Like,
he was probably the best shooter I have had
yeah.
at that time had ever seen. Pure shooter.
Shooter and finisher.
Yes.
When he was at LSU, when he was Chris Jackson, man, he was lighting college basketball up. I seen the game when he played MJ. He was lighting MJ. He gave MJ 38.
How about Muhammad Ali?
They hated Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. They killed him in his prime. Not physically killed him, but they took him out of the boxing in his prime. Now prior to him,
they did Mike Tyson the same way.
They did. They did. So it seems like there's a trend towards black athletes when they speak out on certain. And I don't know, Mike Tyson didn't speak out on social issues, but the rest of them did in their prime.
Right.
But for everything that Mike Tyson didn't speak up for, he was out there in the streets producing. He was amongst the people.
Yes.
Like a Muhammad Ali.
Right.
He was literally actually in the gutter taking care of people that you would never think of.
The people love Mike Tyson. Oh. And I'm gonna tell you this. See, when you in a country where they call you super predator, when they use them terms, super predator.
Right, I remember that.
You already know what time it is, because what you're dealing with is white fear.
Yes.
White fear. The white fear. First of all, they're envious of our natural gifts and abilities. So they don't want to claim that we're intelligent. They already down on the athletic. They already losing on that end. So of course the narrative is always, well, let's point out the negatives. Let's clarify these negatives. Make sure that people know that, hey, these athletes, they may be athletic and things like that, but they don't do this, they don't do that, they can't do this, they can't do that, which is totally false. It's just a narrative created by white fear. They want to perpetuate fear among people, and in their minds, all they think is these athletes are only good for one thing, and that's to entertain the people.
That's why they attacked the black athletes off the field stuff, because of what you just said. They strike, strike hard.
To speak on the white fear was created by the things that were done. It's the karma. It's the 360-degree effect of what they've done prior. down a situation and you've done something to people, and then when these people begin to just stand up for themselves, not retaliate,
That's right.
and not do
That's
to you
right.
what you've done to them, but when they just speak up or say something about what you're doing and what you have been doing and get away with for years now, over 400 years now, then it's a problem. Why? Because they see America is turning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Their death rates is up. Not only the death rates is up, but other ethnicities are coming over here, and our birth rates are other ethnicities outside of the white race.
Right.
Birth rates are up. So that puts them in the corner. That 1% is becoming less than 1%. And so how could they sustain the power? And that's what it's all about. Ultimately, it's all about sustaining power.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
And so,
Now, recently, I think Demetrix and I was talking about this some weeks back. And I think maybe you might have jumped in there. We were talking about Draymond Green and the Stephen A. Smith thing, and with what's his name, Westbrook, Michael.
Stephen A. Snitch.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So they call him a snitch. So, okay, now I want to touch on this part too, because now we're talking about emotions and aggression, and this is basketball. Draymond Green, black NBA player, is always labeled as out of control or dirty, while like Grayson Allen has a history of dangerous plays, but is often framed as competitive or feisty, right?
Bill Laimbeer.
Bill, that's the classic one.
I'm glad you brought that one up.
Dirty Bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, and also it was said, what's the guy who used to play for Utah? The guard.
Oh,
John Stockton?
John Stockton.
John Stockton. Oh.
Was the same way.
Yep.
So why are black athletes penalized more harshly for the same behaviors?
I think that goes back to what Paul was saying about the physical gifts, more athletic.
Well, let me say that. I'm gonna reframe that. I'm sorry. Are black athletes penalized more harshly for the same behaviors?
150%.
Yes.
Okay.
Look at this. Dennis Rodman, prime example.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When he wore the wedding dress.
Dennis deserved a lot of that though.
Boy, that was wild though.
Kicked the
That
dude
was
in the
wild.
nuts.
Oh. Hey, yo.
So, but you can think of it like the penalties, and it goes back to society, I guess. Now, there was a study that a long time ago where they did a social experiment, and they asked the I guess a group of people to look at the kids and look for bad behavior, but really the camera was actually focused on their eyes to see who they were looking at. So it was a group of kids, and like 90% of the time they were actually focused on the black children. So do you think that implicit bias that's there in society is carrying on strongly in sports?
Let me answer that, please. 100% yes. Look, there's a system of being on code in white society too. You know what I mean? I'll give you a prime example that'll speak to what you just talked about. Okay, there was a situation, there was a young black kid, he was a little mentally disabled, and some of the other kids at a school that he was going to, predominantly white school, they were knocking over his tray and messing with his food and stuff. So when it came down to like the parents finding out about it, they wanted to bring attention to the situation. So when the white parents of those children found out about it, the first thing they said was how they wanted to do stuff for the kid and take him places, like take him out to eat and take him to theme parks and stuff. But what they did say was, we need to punish the white kids
What doing there?
that did those acts,
Okay.
those heinous acts. And so that's what it is. So when it comes down to the leagues, all of the leagues, they have a code of protection. They get on code. When the white athletes do something, they don't even, if you talk about it and you're a host on ESPN, you might lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they talk that forgive. They just recently did it with the little white boy that prank called Shador Sanders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to make it seem, it was an innocent prank. Well, if it was so innocent, why did you target Shador? Why did you target one of the white players or a Hispanic player?
Right.
Or any player?
Right.
Why was it Shador?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So
They get
Okay.
They get a pass. Now I'm gonna go back. I just want to go back and touch on the Michael Vick thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Now, in this society, what they preach that everyone deserves a second chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Right.
Now, Michael Vick, whatever the crime was, he served his time. He did his time, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did his time. Not only did he do his time, he came back, he joined organizations talking against dog violence. He donated money. He came back, got a second chance in the NFL. Then not only that, he became almost like a model citizen. He was an analyst on sports shows. But you know what? Every time that he makes a stride, or say for instance, I remember when he first got the position at I think Fox Sports, I don't know what it was. Comments were still
Mm-hmm.
25 years later, man, that's that's disgusting. He shouldn't be allowed to do this. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. He should rot in jail. He should do that. This is 25 years later when he became coach of Norfolk State.
Mm-hmm.
Same comments. Black athletes, black people in general, do not get the same type of forgiveness or pass that white athletes and even white people get. That's just the way it is in this country.
So, okay, that was a handful. Do you think optics play a role? That the way it looks on a particular sport, because you can bring up the Ray Rice thing with domestic violence, but then you can also mention that Julian Edelman, and what was the other guy? There was another guy, but Julian Edelman had those issues. There was other players that had issues with those things. Do you think maybe it's the optics of it all? Like I know Wayne mentioned the video thing.
To me,
Yeah,
when you say
optics.
optics thing, but with us they bring the optics in. If there's no video, you're gonna get 24-hour press over and over again every hour on the hour on ESPN, on Fox News. Like I said, it's a good old boy on code, get along
That's
game
right.
type of situation.
Okay.
So they're gonna push you to the forefront. It might not even be a big deal. You might get a speeding ticket. For a prime example, Tariq Hill in Miami when he got pulled over. They made it a
Yep.
big deal. They blew it out of proportion. They made it seem as though he had assaulted himself when the officers snatched him out the car. He literally was explaining himself. He explained why he kept his window rolled up. Then when they pulled him out the car, they snatched him out the car. He explained to them he just had surgery on his knee. They didn't care.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah,
the
the
video.
officer got fired.
And they knew who he
But
was too.
that wasn't the narrative. The narrative was, why did he comply? Or why did he have a better attitude? Or why was he upset? Or why was he yelling? He was yelling because they created the atmosphere.
Right.
It's the agitation game. If I spit on you in a dark hallway and then I run down the hallway into a room that's well lit full of people and you start punching me in my face, who you think gonna look crazy?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the game. That's the game that's being played. Once again, it's a good old boy on code game.
Okay.
And then to back it up, you got the media that the Billionaire Boys Club game. Hey, this guy, he got caught doing this. Well, we need to run that every hour on the hour on ESPN for like a whole month.
Okay. So now we see a lot of the disparities here too, but we talk about things like representation, right? Like say somebody mentioned LeBron, shut up and dribble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So black athletes like LeBron James, for some reason, are expected to. Do you think that they're expected to take social stands, support communities, and be role models? Meanwhile, white stars like Tom Brady aren't asked to comment on political or racial issues despite their influence. Do you think that's an unfair or strategic thing that's being done?
Absolutely.
White athletes don't go through what black athletes and black people go through in our community.
Okay.
So of course, white. All Tom Brady has to do is wave his hand and say something, and then everybody's on board. When you're black, the media is against you, the world's against you, the legal system's against you. You know, sometimes your own people are against you.
Right.
So it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, that's true. And then, just like Wayne was saying, the social issues that black athletes have to deal with is vastly different than what white athletes have to go through. Now, white athletes, they're in support of autism or cerebral palsy. Black athletes dealing with brutal crimes, law enforcement, you know, just a whole bunch of different things. It's totally different.
So definitely.
Well, I'll give you a prime example. Warren Sapp, before the Super Bowl, he got caught with a lady in the night. You know what I mean?
Right,
Got
right.
fired. Immediately, they didn't even let him out to go. Robert Kraft, the owner
Yes.
of the
Patriots.
right after the Super Bowl, flew down to Tampa Bay, had him a lady in the night. You never seen the mugshot.
Nothing.
You're
Not a
right.
single mugshot.
You're right. You're right about that.
He got that. Robert Kraft got that happy ending.
And guess what? I didn't hear Stephen A. Smith talking about it either.
Oh yeah, please don't mention Stephen A. Smith. I got an issue with Stephen A. Smith. So then the sound of that name.
I didn't hear Charles Barkley talk about. Oh, he's an idiot. That guy's an idiot.
So you're saying that, you know, we get an unfair view even by our own when it comes to let's say
Yeah.
famous people.
That's what I'm trying to highlight.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to highlight. Yeah. So we'll get it from the little coonies up there on ESPN and in the little booths at Fox or whatever. We'll also get it from outside the race as well. But sometimes we get it harder from the people inside the race. Look at the way Stephen A. Smith destroyed Allen Iverson's whole media image.
Yep.
Look at the way he went on Kwame Brown for years.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
He
Kyrie.
attacked Kyrie Irving like it's going out of style.
And might I add, Kyrie didn't even break a law. He didn't even break a law.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Listen, I posted something on Threads the other day, right? In regard to the Shedeur Sanders situation. I kid you not, I had about 4,000 responses. About half of them was from black men who were trying to tell me all the reasons why Shedeur Sanders, they were justified in not dragging him, why he needs to be humble. He played in weak conference.
I heard Chris Carter talking about that too, man.
Yeah, Chris
That broke my heart.
Yeah, Chris
It was
Carter.
disappointing.
Yeah.
No, was Chris Carter talking about that? Now I didn't hear it or see
Defending
it.
Shedeur.
Was he more or less talking about that it was his father's fault, Deion Sanders' fault, for how things happened?
He was more or less, from my understanding, you know what I mean? He was basically defending the league. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He was like watered down defending the league. I was like, wow.
He was.
You got to look at his position also and where he is. Like I said before, he don't have that freedom of speech. He can't really speak on how he really feels. He has an agenda that he has to go by.
Right.
No. I got to strongly disagree. You got the freedom of speech. You got the opportunity and the right to defend yourself. But it depends on what you're going to do for that dollar.
Okay.
Are you going to let that dollar come between your good judgment and being loyal to your ethnicity?
So
or you gonna get up there with the coon suit.
money.
You know?
So money matters. Money matters.
Yeah, they gonna act strange for that change.
Okay.
They gonna act strange for that change. I'm telling you.
So speaking of money,
take a look at Shannon Sharp when he had that big blow up with what's the white guy name?
Skip Bayless.
Skip Bayless.
Skip Bayless.
Skip.
Come on, Skip.
Put your glasses back on.
Oh yeah.
Sterling Sharp even said something about that.
But you know what's so sad about that? He was so foaming at the mouth when he was going to fight Ja Morant's father. But that white man stood right across the desk from him, and he didn't do that. I think he even put his glasses back on.
He did. He put the glasses right back on.
Selective gangster. And then he sat there. And then he cried on the last damn show, man, talking about how he was going to miss being on the show, kissing his ass.
And to be honest, I watched the show, and it really had nothing to do with Skip Bayless, because to me, he was kind of boring. But Shannon Sharpe, I appreciated him as on that show because he always told it like it was.
Exactly. The Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And all of that.
No,
When
he put that cigarette in his mouth.
Until it came down to being disrespected. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Right.
It's easy to tell. It's easy to talk about sports statistics and keep it in between the lines of the field. But when it comes to the personal attacks and the blatant racism, it's real hard. That money make you, it made him, at least, it made him feel like, I got to water this down. I got to shuck and jive a little bit.
Yeah, I think what pushed him over the top was.
But at a basketball game, you ready to bust another black man upside his head.
over LeBron James.
Well, I think what did it for Shannon Sharpe on that show was the fact that he kept going at his legacy. He kept saying, "Well, you couldn't do it."
Tom Brady could,
right?
Yeah,
and he kind of has a habit of doing that too.
Skip.
Yes, when he did it with
What?
was another athlete that came on the show.
Was it Stephen A?
No.
It was Richard Sherman. Was it Richard?
Yes.
He did it to Chris Carter.
That's right, Chris Carter. That's who it was.
God, he don't like him.
Right. And I don't know. I don't think Skip Bayless ever played football or laced up some cleats. So,
Probably dead his life.
But he find it so easy.
See, okay. I'm glad you said that. I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. I'm glad you said that. Who are they to even speak on a sport? Shannon Sharpe should have been in the Skip Bayless position.
Right.
All the rest of them guys who never played the sport, they don't even deserve to be up there. You got Deion Sanders, you got a Tom Brady, you got people like that out there that are qualified, overqualified. Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis can break down the game on both sides of the ball.
Right.
Ed Reed can too. But you'll never see them put a mic up to them and give them a show.
I'm glad you said that, Wayne, because Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless was doing Undisputed. Richard Sherman, I guess, after all that thing that happened with him and Skip on ESPN.
Win with Skip Bayless. That was Richard Sherman's problem. You can't win with Skip Bayless.
Right,
but always right with Skip Bayless.
Right, but on Undisputed, he was telling him what you just made a point about Skip. You didn't play football. I think they was talking about the certain hit that was going on or whatever, and Skip was like, I think they should ban it out, and this and that. And Skip and Richard was like, how the player is supposed to not hit you? I think it was
in motion. It was something like
right.
Yeah, right.
And Richard got mad and he was like, Skip, you ain't never played football. What Wayne just said, you can't speak on that.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and that brings it back to why that's why you had those athletes on the show, to give it some credibility, because you're going to bring somebody who can actually articulate how things are. They can bring that expertise, and you still downplay their knowledge of the game.
Right.
There's certain nuances of the game that Skip Bayless can't speak to. Skip Bayless don't know how it is to get your bell wrong and have to pull up the courage to go back on the field and be victorious. Skip Bayless have never been in a game where, like, you're losing, you're down by X amount of points, you're the leader, everybody's looking at you to figure something out to win the game. Skip Bayless have never had those experiences.
True.
Only people that can speak from those experiences are those who've been on the field. Skip Bayless have never felt the victory of a Super Bowl.
True. True.
Which is one of the reasons why Charles Barkley don't like Skip Bayless either, because he speaks on stuff he don't, you can't break down just because you watch it, the games or whatever. You didn't play basketball. You didn't play football.
Okay.
So
now, even speaking on media, right? And we talked about some of the things, we touched on this a little bit earlier about off-field behavior. Now, here's my example. Allen Iverson, everybody knew AI, right? Was heavily criticized for his lifestyle, his dress, even while performing at the Hall of Fame level, right? AI Hall of Famer. Now, contrast that with Johnny Manziel, white guy in the NFL who's all field partying, the drugs, the alcohol. It was often
Giving chance after chance.
right, but he also they portrayed him as just being immature or reckless, not criminal. Whereas at Allen Iverson, it was always that criminal element that they would touch on some sort of way. So how does I'm gonna say how do you think the media tone differs based on race?
Like tone down the white athletes?
No, the tone, the way they talk or way they mention different things when it comes to.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Paul, yes or no? Oh, Wing.
Like this. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's always a double, triple standard, like I always said. But the flip side of that coin is I often have to point the finger at us because we have black athletes, and I'm not going to say no names, LeBron James, that'll go on these white shows and give credibility to these white shows, but you'll never see him on It Is What It Is. You'll never see him on a show sitting down talking with Kwame Brown, or you'll never see him on a show talking to Garcido. You know what I mean? But you'll see him, talking to Skip Bayless and everybody else that's white.
Now, do you think that's
And
due
so
to
what I
the
say that to say
audience?
this, we give them credibility and credentials.
Yeah. Okay.
We
I can
give
see
them
that.
prestige.
No, but do you think that has to do with more or less the size of their audience when it comes to, like, say, Skip Bayless or what's the other guy that used to be a kicker?
Okay.
Pat
McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he support Pat. LeBron
But
supports
see, here's the
Pat
thing.
McAfee, but not Shannon Sharp.
Those guys have that show or those shows to talk about black people like us. We make their shows. If they don't talk about how we perform, they have no show. And then we give them even more credentials and more credibility when we go on their shows. So if we want to see a change in how we're seen and viewed in public, we need to go on black shows that have a black perspective that will give us the good look from our perspective and get on code with us.
Okay.
Until we do that, they're always going to be able to destroy our character. They're always going to be able to put out stories that'll catch wind and help us lose endorsements, help us lose deals. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we put them on that level by going on their shows and boosting their ratings.
Okay, so I'm gonna end it with this question. This question is for all of you. I'll call you, just so we don't have everybody talking at the same time. Given these disparities that we talked about, what role should media play, fans play, and institutions play in pushing for equity? So I'm gonna start with you, Wayne. What role should they play in pushing for equity with sports media, fans, and the institutions?
What do you mean by pushing my equity? Like helping the athletes and entertainers to produce funds? Or,
Yeah, to level the playing field, even when it comes to perceptions, when it comes to punishment, when it comes to, you mentioned ownership, things like that. What should media, fans, and the institutions, being the NFL, MLB, NBA, what should they be doing to push equity?
They should be encouraging the actual athletes that bring the potential to the game. In other words, look, if you know you have an audience and you know you can influence and push the needle, when you have a person like a Shedeur Sanders, he didn't get drafted high. He should be on every ESPN Sports Center show that there is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They should be pushing him to the forefront. His jerseys are already number 3, and that's probably breaking a record because that's the lowest person that's probably ever been drafted with a top 3 jersey being sold.
Yeah, I think he hit number 1 by now.
Right. So it's situations like this, and but the only problem I have with that question is this: is who are we expecting it from? Because white corporate America is never going to help or defend us. If anything, they're gonna do everything they can to tear us down. Unless we're a cash cow like a LeBron James is willing to bend over and do whatever they say, shut up and dribble. I mean, outside of that, they're not gonna really, they're gonna more like want to dictate, our downfall more than help us to raise up and gain power. Why would the same people who make money off of us want to see us make money off of them or make more money than them?
Okay.
That's an oxymoron.
Okay. Now they have done that in the past, and that was initiated by the players, though. Where even the NFL, they have this rule where the revenue has to be spent, like I think 60% on players. That's why they had that little, I guess the cap and the minimum. So, what about the fans? This one's for you, Paul. What can the fans do, or institutions like the leagues? What can they do to push equity? You muted.
I'm good.
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
The fans in the institutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say a lot, but I'm going to say that really nothing because it doesn't serve them. Because the thing about the fans don't care. The fans don't care. The fans all they care about is entertainment. They don't care.
Exactly.
They don't care if an athlete is perceived wrong. They don't care if he's smeared in the court of public opinion. They don't care. These institutions don't care. They care about getting that athlete on that field. What the athlete, how many championships can that athlete win for us? How much revenue can that athlete generate to our organization? They could care less about what the perception and the narratives of these athletes, because once they make a mistake, they discard them like trash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to follow up on that, Wayne?
Oh, yeah, man. Listen, especially us, man. I hate it. That's the worst thing about black people. When someone do take a stand, if white corporate America is not putting them in front of the cameras no more, we don't hold them up. We don't insult them no more. But if they standing up and they bending over backwards trying to help and defend us, we'll ride with them until like the cameras go away. When they go home hungry, broke. We have too many black leaders that die off like that. It's more money in selling out than it is for standing up.
Okay.
And that's the problem. If we stood behind, if everybody stood behind our I won't call them leaders, but the people that take on our issues, our social issues, and they stand up for our ethnicity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If we stand behind them in unison, it will be a total difference. But it's not gonna happen if the second that the cameras are taken away from white corporate America, we just walk away from it. Colin Kaepernick, nobody's seen him. He's on milk cart.
Right. Well, this was interesting and I think a great conversation, and I want to thank you guys for your very intelligent responses to these questions and this good dialogue. So before we go, I want to say, for anybody who's listening out there, our word of the day is going to be sports. That's our word of the day. So if you're listening at the end of the month, every episode we have a word of the day. If you get all the words of the day at the end of the month, you email us at hottopics, that's HOTTOPIX podcast @gmail.com, and you will have a chance to win comedy show tickets at a place near you. So let me just throw that out there. I want to thank my special co-host, Demetrix Cinema. Check him out on YouTube. And what's the name? How you spell that on there?
DEMETRIX Cinema. CIMENA.
Okay, that's on YouTube. And Wayne Crespo, thank you. It was a pleasure as always.
I want to say one thing, man. Hey, R.I.P. to my cousin Tevin Hargrove, man. May you rest in peace. We all love you.
Oh yeah, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in power. And my bro out there wearing the cowboy boots and the Stetson hat out in Texas.
No cowboy hat and Stetson for me, but I will tell you this: you can reach me at Mr. Paul 1010 on TikTok. I got Motivate fitness brand coming out. Also got Real Talk University merchandise coming out. And I got Motivate 365 coming out. So if you need motivation, you need fitness motivation, and you just got you want to hear real talk, and it's on t-shirts. Get with me, Mr. Paul 1010. The online store is coming this week.
You heard it. Check him out on TikTok. And I like to also thank Travis for popping in there. I know he was busy. Both two of the guests were actually driving, so they took that time out of their busy schedule to come in and chat with us. So thank you all.
I wanted to think a shout out to Travis too. His new name is Mason Rudolph.
Travis, and I stole his last name, so that's my new last name. He can have mine. But yeah, I want to thank you guys again, and feel free to jump in at any of the future topics. We got some good ones coming up in the future. This Sunday at 3 p.m. we're going to do our recording, and we're going to talk about mothers, how we appreciate mothers, what they contribute, how they affected our lives. So we basically want to honor the mothers for Mother's Day. So if you want to jump in there, just go ahead and hit us up at hottopicspodcast.com and hit the events button and go ahead and register and join us. And, I'm excited because I would love to talk about, my mother and how she influenced me. So, feel free to jump in.
Thank you, family, for listening to the latest episode of Hot Topics. As usual, listen, like, share, subscribe. Ta!